We are back on Morning Line. Our guest with us this morning, Kendall Poole, Director of the Tennessee Governor's Highway Safety Office, taking calls this morning. And, by the way, I was saying on the last caller, he was talking about, he felt he had an experience once where he really believed that the seatbelt, had he been wearing it, might have cost him. So that's his personal experience. And so I have to defer to him. If he chooses, because he's afraid of seatbelts because of that experience, not to wear it, he may willfully violate the law because that's just his own experience. But the big picture, for those of us who aren't through this, if you look at the numbers, Kendall, prove that the vast majority of the cases, you have a better chance of surviving a wreck if you have a seatbelt on as opposed to not wearing one. There's no disputing that statistically.
There is no disputing that statistically. And if you look at the seatbelt usage percentages across the country, we're still considered a low seatbelt use state. Any state under 90% is considered a low seatbelt use state. It's inevitable a state of similar size that has a higher seatbelt usage rate than us is going to have lower fatalities.
Yes.
And part of that is because of the demographic that we share. In the Southeast, we have more pickup trucks. That's one of the factors. We have people who drive more and longer. We have more commuters in the Southeast.
Yeah.
And so we're not easily compared to a northeastern state or a western state or anywhere across the country. We're very unique. We're also touched by 8 different states. We have 24, 65.
And main interstates going through it. We're a hub, aren't we?
Absolutely. So we have more vehicle miles traveled. So we have a lot of things working against us. But again, I firmly believe, based on the statistics and the research that have been shown to us, given to us, that if we increase seatbelt usage percentage, and hopefully the increased fine will help us do that as a deterrent. If we increase seatbelt usage 5, 6, 7%, that represents thousands of Tennesseans that will be wearing their seatbelt and increase their chances of survival.
Let's go next to Faye. Hi, Faye.
Hello.
Good morning, Faye.
It's Jay.
Oh, hi, Jay. What's on your mind?
Well, I have a comment and a suggestion, and I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I'd like to know if I send it into somewhere, where would I send it? And it would be just not put in the wastebasket.
Oh, you mean for the safety office?
Oh, yeah, you can.
Yeah, how do you contact?
You want to email us?
No, I don't have that.
Okay. Well, I can give you our address if you'd like to send us something.
And Mr. Poole, are you a Nashvilleian?
I'm a native Nashvilleian. I'm one of the few left. I'm an endangered species.
South Nashvilleian?
No, ma'am. I grew up over on the eastern side in Donaldson and Hermitage and Old Hickory.
Well, that's kind of, were you in the school business at all at one time?
No, ma'am.
Well, yeah, listen, if you want to stick around, what we'll do is, I'll get the address. You get a pen and paper, Jay, and we'll give you the address at the end of the show on where you can send any suggestion you may have for the safety office. Let's go to Wilma. Hi, Wilma. Good morning, Wilma.
Good morning.
How are you? What's on your mind?
I wanted to make a comment about the seatbelt usage. My granddaughter had an accident. She fell asleep at the wheel, ran off the road, down into a gully, up and hit a tree. Her airbags did not activate. The seatbelt saved her life.
Wow. Yeah, those airbags, you never know. And if a seatbelt's buckled, it's there for you. Was she injured?
Only a little bit, just abrasion and bruises. And she was in a practically new Jeep Patriot.
Wow. So a solid car, but still, without the seatbelt, are you pretty sure that she probably would have had some real problems?
I think she would have gone through the windshield and would have had some head damage.
Yep. That's a perfect example. Thank you for your call.
Great example,
Thank you,
Wilma.
Wilma, for that.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. About 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was driving in on I-40 from Wilson County to work, and I'm cruising along, and all of a sudden this car goes past me kind of fast, and I don't know what happened, if the guy had a seizure or what, but he all of a sudden swerved in front of me, hit one of those roadside median, the big pillars that go in with the metal railing, just 70 miles an hour, smack, head first. And I'm driving, I'm now about 100 yards behind, and I see the car go whoop, up and then land right on its roof and then flip and then land in the ravine on the shoulder there just before Hermitage. And I'm literally the first one on the scene, okay? So as I pull over, other people are pulling over, and I'm immediately grabbing my cell phone to call 911 as I'm looking to see if someone was thrown. Because I'm like, if they're thrown, they're dead. And both of them were still in the car. And then at that point, they were both conscious, and some other people came while I was calling 911 and actually took the individuals out. They wanted out. I wasn't going to move them myself. I was thinking, wow, what if they have a neck injury? But the belts were on and kept it. But I mean, when you witness it yourself that way, I'm just like, there's another example. Because I got out and I started looking in the brush thinking, okay, someone got thrown, they're dead. And they were both in the car because the seatbelts saved their lives. And just like she said, when you witness that, it really hits home. Because, I mean, this car, you don't see too often a car 70 miles an hour in real life. And I'm right there driving, and I see it in front of me. And it was like something out of the movies. Way up high, flipping, and then set. And I'm like, I think I witnessed some fatalities here. And both of them emerged with bumps and bruises.
Unbelievable. And another great example for seat belts. And Nick, that brings us to another point. We talk about, we don't know whether they swerved because it could have been a medical issue.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there.
It could have been distracted driving.
Sure.
It could have been drowsy driving. And one thing that we've really focused on with our impaired driving, the booze it and lose it, is the explosion of prescription drugs combined with illegal narcotics. Drug impaired driving is an epidemic.
You don't think about that.
Almost as bad as distracted driving. So, we just need folks to know, if you're taking prescription drugs, and it says do not operate heavy machinery. Well, guess what? A car's heavy machinery.
By the way, with regard to that, certainly if you're on prescription drugs and you're impaired, the field sobriety test might catch you, but you're not. That's not going to be detected by the breathalyzer, would it?
No, it won't.
Like if you're taking OxyContin or something, for pain, that doesn't get picked up. But now, if you can't walk a straight line, that's enough to nail you also.
It is, and you look at enforcement, and there is something called a mandatory blood draw that was passed by the legislature a couple of years ago.
That's going to get you too.
So obviously they have a registered phlebotomist or take you to the hospital, and it's a mandatory blood draw to do that if they feel like there is drug impairment there. I mean, you may blow and you're not blowing anything.
Oh yeah.
But you're visibly impaired.
So
can't
it's in your blood.
Up
it's in your blood.
You can't stand up. So drug impaired driving. Obviously, when you look at the stats, Nick, you probably know this better than I do, but isn't Tennessee still the second most prescribed state across the country?
This state is a pill mill.
so we talk about prescription drugs and pills, and that's impaired.
Yep.
So impaired driving, we continue to work with the District Attorney General's Conference and prosecution, and the governor's done a terrific job in trying to get a handle through the governor's public safety subcabinet. Commissioner Bill Gibbons leads that, and trying to get a handle on the pill issue and the drug issues. It's very tough right now.
I'm sorry, who was on line two? Let's say, caller, are you there?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right, I think it's a good program. I was talking, they need to, media-wise, show, check your mirrors before you drive, pre-flight stuff, as I'd say.
Oh yeah, well, you know what? Bob was just
dropping down. I heard that's a new one.
Yeah, check the mirrors, things like. One thing I tell my young son is he's going to get ready to drive is he can do everything right. And that's what I don't worry so much about him, and I don't worry so much about me behind the wheel. I worry about all the others out there, because of what you were just saying, my mind went to, you have no idea. Every day when I'm driving to work, gosh knows how many people I'm sharing the road with that are on some kind of medication.
Right.
Even this time of year, cough syrup will do it to you if you got codeine in there. And so my thing is defensive driving is more than anything else. Don't worry so much about yourself. You know how to drive. You're going to do well. But you have to take into account the meathead that you share the road with. That's just the way I look at it.
That's your public safety message from Nick Maris. The meathead that you share the road with.
That either is texting, not paying attention, doing drugs, drinking. You need to be ready to drive defensively. Don't trust signal lights. That's one thing I tell my son. I don't care. If you're ready to pull out into a main thoroughfare and someone's signaling to turn, don't trust it.
Right.
I've seen too many times where they don't turn, the thing just didn't click, and then you've got a T-bone. you wait until you see them start making the turn. Even if you've got time, it's not worth it.
Well,
you got to protect yourself against other drivers, man.
You're exactly right, and the caller makes a great point. I mean, a pre-flight check is certainly not a bad idea.
Yeah.
You know, you
Seatbelt,
always
mirrors.
Yeah, you always want to regularly check your tires. All of those things that play into safety of your vehicle. And gosh, I mean, again, if we did that and we refrained from impaired driving, everyone wore their seatbelts, we watched our speed, we had no aggressive driving. I mean, think about how much we could reduce fatalities, how many more lives we would save in the state.
Let's go to Steve. Steve, good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, Steve, go ahead.
Okay, my comment is about yielding the right of way for people who get on the interstate.
Oh, yeah.
Many times I'm in the right lane and you don't have a chance to pull over to the left lane to give the person moving on the right of way.
Yeah, that's crazy. I've been there too.
So you have to stay in the right-hand lane. But many times I find the driver who is coming onto the interstate doesn't want to slow down. He thinks you're going to slow down and cut in front of you. He's supposed to yield the right of way.
That's right, isn't it? I mean, if you're merging, now, I understand. I get frustrated sometimes when I'm trying to merge and I see someone there and there's no reason they can't move over. They see me and they still stay in that lane. That pisses me off, all right? Now, a lot of times, though, he's right. You're in that lane and you see someone merging and there's a car right to your left and you can't move over. At that point, you just have to roll with it. You slow down or you accelerate. But is it right? The merging car, if they have to, they need to go on the shoulder or slow down.
That's true, and you know it's etiquette, it's driving etiquette, it's a law in a lot of cases, and I think we all might be better served if we had to go back to a driver training class every so often, to learn that, because we have to remember that he makes a good point. Driving is a privilege; it's not a right. Okay, and we think when we turn 16, it's my right, I get to drive. Well, we have to remember that it's still a privilege to have your driver's license, and that means that you're maintaining all of the laws and you're following the rules of the road, whether it's right of way or whether it's anything else.
Yeah, you've got to you have your insurance, you have to pass the driver's test, and all of that type of thing. All right, so go ahead, if you would, and just share the website with our viewers if they want to go there, and what kind of information is on the website.
Absolutely. Listen, I think we have what is the best highway safety office website in the nation. I would put it up with anybody. Any information that I've talked about or anything that you would like to see is on tntrafficsafety.org.
Okay, that's easy enough to remember. Trafficsafety.org.
tntrafficsafety.org. Okay. And anything. I mean, we've got statistics, we've got research on there, we've got programs, things that we're involved in. You can see video clips, anything that you want to share with schools or civic groups, community groups. Terrific website.
Check it out. Kendall, thank you. Great
Nick,
job.
great to be with you.
Keep up the good work. I mean, it obviously is working because the numbers are reflective of that. And,
well, thank you. And we're going to continue working. One life is too many.
Right. Yeah. And keep it safe, because this is, the time that gets really busy. Really busy right now. You be safe out there, all right?
I will.
Thanks again.
Man.
We'll take a break. When we come back, by the way, I will have a phone number for the office. We had a caller earlier that has a suggestion they want to share. They can make that call and then find out maybe specifically where to send it. So we'll have a number for you right after this. Stay with us.